ऑडिबल, आई एम ऑडिबल ना, इट्स क्लियर ना सब? ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है सर, ठीक है। हाँ सर, आवाज क्लियर है? हाँ, तो अगर बच्चों के साथ आपको भी अगर कुछ इंटरेक्ट करना हुआ, जैसे होता नहीं कि कैसा लग रहा है, हाउ दे आर फीलिंग विद दिस, और तो आप भी इंटरेक्ट कर सकते हैं। हाँ, मतलब एक सेशन होगा। ओके ओके ओके। You will just oversee the things, right sir? Okay okay, done done, ठीक है सर। श्योर सर। ओके सर। राजेश सर। Sir, your good name is Sriram Rajesh, right, sir? Sri Sriram Rajesh, sir, from DOJ, right, sir? Hello. Hello, sir. Doctor. Yeah, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. Sir, 1 minute, sir. Doctor Sriram Rajesh. Then, sir, designation, sir. Sir, designation, I think, program program associate, legal literacy and legal business. ठीक है, वो है सर, वो वाला है सर। Today, sir, there is a gathering of 500 students, sir. Yeah. Yeah, and it's very nice. We are going to different schools and interacting on various aspects of laws. Yeah. Yes, sir. Durdarshan is available also. Durdarshan is there. We made the program live also. Yeah. Everything is. Yeah, sir. Yeah, yeah. Correct. Sir. Sir. Department of Justice, Ministry of Justice, Government of अरे ऑफ है भाई, ऑन करो स्विच।
So you don't want to stay. What about the speaker, sir? You don't want to make a speaker. You don't want to make a speaker also.
No, mic is there, na? I can. If you want to speak, I can.
Don't be audible, sir.
If it got hanged, and I can't do anything now. Live, everything is live now. Let's with the things now.
For how long you will be holding the notes? Or laptop hang ஆயிடும்.
Like Jack is there.
Ah.
Mohandas. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. About to start, sir. Yeah.
A very good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all for the inauguration of the NYAYOLI Club and Legal Awareness Program. I now request everybody to rise for Samutai Bharati.
Shikha ma'am, project coordinator, right ma'am? Shikha ma'am, will the introduction session. Yes ma'am. Shikha ma'am, hello. Yes ma'am, project coordinator ma'am. Ma'am, team coordinator, right? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you all. I now request Ms. Madeline of 12th standard to read the welcome address to the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. It is my distinct honor and privilege to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to retired respected Justice Kannan, a distinguished former judge of the High Court, who has graciously accepted our invitation to be here with us today. Sir, your presence here is a source of immense pride and inspiration for all of us. Your illustrious career in the judiciary, marked by integrity, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to justice, serves as a beacon for those of us aspiring to contribute meaningfully to society. Throughout your esteemed career, you have upheld the values of fairness and equity, ensuring that the principles of justice are applied without fear or favor. Your judgments have not only impacted the lives of individuals, but have also strengthened the fabric of our legal system. For this, we are profoundly grateful. It is my privilege to introduce the Honorable guest speaker to you. Respected Justice Kannan is the former Justice of the Punjab and Haryana High Court and currently serves as the Chairman of the Railway Claims Tribunal (RCT) at the Principal Bench of New Delhi, India. He is a graduate in Economics from Loyola College at Chennai and graduate in Law from the Law College at Pondicherry, then under Madras University in 1977. Chief among his many achievements is that Justice Kannan established a mediation center under the aegis of the Tamil Nadu Legal Services Authority and Kurchipadi near Pondicherry in 1981. Among the first few mediation centers in the country, he was among the first team of mediators in the country in Chennai, where court annexed mediation initially took root in 2005. As students, we are eager to learn from your experiences and insights. Your journey from a dedicated student to a respected person in the judiciary reminds us that with hard work, perseverance, and a strong moral compass, we too can achieve great things. Today, as we gather to hear your words of wisdom, we are reminded of the importance of the rule of law and the role it plays in safeguarding our rights and freedoms. We are excited to learn about the challenges and triumphs you have encountered along your path and to draw inspiration from your exemplary service. On behalf of the entire school community, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. We are deeply honored by your presence and look forward to an enlightening and engaging session. I request our principal, Reverend Sister Rosalie, to honor the chief guest. I'm happy to cordially welcome into our midst Mr. Srinivasan, Principal Dr. Ambedkar Government Law College, Puducherry, Dr. Srinivasan Rajesh, Program Associate from Department of Justice, Mrs. Raja Satya, Assistant Professor in Law, Member Project Management Team, Mr. Saurav Dey, Assistant Professor in Law, Member Project Management Team. I request Reverend Sister Rosalie to welcome the guests. Welcome one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Madeline. I once again welcome you all. A special welcome to Honorable Justice Kannan Sir and also Dr. Sriram Rajesh, Program Associate, Legal Literacy and Legal Awareness from Department of Justice, and also Ms. Sishra Anand, Team Coordinator, Legal Literacy and Legal Awareness Program, who have joined through Google Meet today for our program. I now request our Principal Sir, Professor Dr. S. Srinivasan, who is the Project Director of NYAYAOLI, to give a brief note on our set project.
Respected Lordship, Honorable Justice K. Kannan Sir, respected Principal of this institution, and the respected authority from the Department of Justice who have helped us to do this project to Dr. Ambedkar Government Law College, the media persons, my colleagues who are there, my students, and all of us sitting here, dear students. It's a very pleasant good morning to all of present here. Thank you. First, I would wish to thank your principal for permitting me to conduct such a program here. And as of now, you may not know the significance of this program. So this program is to enlighten you with the fundamental laws. Lordship has come all the way from Sinai to enlighten their minds here with the fundamental knowledge of law. So how it is important and how it will be a part of your life and career. So you will know only when you make use of it. So this project has been given and here before you today to just share a few words about the NYAYAOLI project. And as I was explaining Lordship today morning, so what is NYAYAOLI? So Nyaya means justice and Oli means like spreading. So justice must spread everywhere. And the light when it is given, when it is switched on, it spreads everywhere and no space is with the darkness. So justice must prevail everywhere, in each and every part of human living and even other creatures living. So that is the very purpose of this NYAYAOLI project. So it was only Dr. Ambedkar Government Law College, which is a 50 years old institution, which has once got the project, has coined the name as NYAYAOLI and has also prepared a logo for that. And we have started the journey in the month of June, and we are going to end up by August by completing 50 schools and colleges. We will be completing 50 schools and colleges end of the August. That is, we have this project is about for 24 months. So the ultimatum that is given to us is to reach the students of schools and colleges in various parts of the Puducherry, regions of Puducherry, to ignite the minds of the young people, the need and significance of the law. So as of now, you may not be able to understand that how much significant the law is. Because it would be under the impression that studying law is a course. So we offer a program of 5 years integrated program and a 3 years course and PG programs. So this college has been run for about 50 years. We have recently celebrated Golden Jubilee celebrations in the 2022. So that is the legacy of our institution, which is offering a law course. But then these courses are offered as a degree. Who join the course. So you should not get the impression that it is only for the law graduate to study law. Even other people have to study. So as far as Pondicherry is concerned, when research was conducted, it is understood that legal literacy level as Pondicherry has been not adequate. It is only satisfactory in the sense compared to other states. So resulting in more number of violations, resulting in more number of case and file, resulting in more number of cases accumulated in various courts, and resulting in to find out the alternate dispute mechanism, because the normal courts could not dispense justice within the stipulated time. That is the reason where we have to find an ADR mechanism, alternate dispute resolution mechanism, wherein we try to resolve. And one of the aspect of that, the ADR is conducting lok adar by the legal service authority. All that you will understand in the course of programs when it is continued for some time till the completion project. So this is the background of this project, where we are given a task to accomplish and see that the legal literacy level in Puducherry will increase by reaching out the students and other stakeholders by way of various other programs, outreach programs. So we are not only coming to the schools and colleges, we are also attending the other categories as well. The fishermen as a category, the transgender as a category, the prisoners in the prison as a category, and SC/ST people as a category. So all these categories are being identified, and we reach out there and see that the fundamentals of law is brought to them, is made known to them. So you can see that the research that conveys an interesting point that about 60 to 70% of the people who are entangled in the violation is for the reason that they do not know law. So people commit by emotion. People commit a violation, and violation may be a crime or illicit law that may be committed. And when you commit it, if you know that, you come to know that you do not know, ignorance of law is not excuse. Ignorance of law is not excuse. You may not know engineering, you may not know medicine, but you cannot say that I do not know law. So ignorance of law is not excuse. So you must, by all means, know the fundamentals of law. Not that you have to learn or go for a degree of law. It is not necessary. So from the beginning till the end of your life, you are supposed to know what is the law that you are associated with and know the fundamentals of it. Otherwise, you will be exposed and say that I do not know the law, and for which the punishment will be the solution, or the fight will be the solution, which you have to work under. So that is the reason where this project is given to us, and we are now with you. And to start with, I am here for two things. One is to formally declare open the NYAYAOLI club here. You will have a faculty here, and the faculty will be in charge of the conducting various programs in the institution by joining the volunteers in the club. It's a NYAYAOLI club, and any one of you or even all of you can join as a member, volunteers. And the nodal officer who is appointed by the principal will be coordinating with the government law college, with the team, project team, and they will be happy to conduct any number of events, any number of programs in the institution in future. That depends on your willingness and your interest on learning and knowing about fundamentals of law, and that being conveyed to the nodal officer, and the nodal officer again connecting to the project team. So for this particular event, I should be thankful to the Department of Justice, and I should convey a special thanks to our Director, Higher Education and School Education, who has helped me to conduct such programs. A circular is issued to all schools and colleges. So I should mention special thanks about all these with the Director of Justice and to the Director of School and Higher Education and to the government as a whole. So thank you. Just two words. I just thank once again all those who are present here, and the special thanks to principal and our resource person. Again, we have come here as a part of executing the social responsibility. Then the alumni. So both the Lordship and myself is alumni of this institution, and we are here with you as a part of executing the social responsibility that we owe. We have educated with the law degree. and we have a responsibility that the company, which is not end of it or is not complete, that simply after graduating, getting employed, and taking salary and completing their service. So as for those who has completed service, he does not sit at home. He is doing a lot of activities. He is carrying on the arbitration and going to various schools and colleges, igniting their minds about the importance of law, and that how he is here today. So both have a joint responsibility to serve the society. Is in the process. We are here with you, and once again, I thank one and all present here, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, as a part of this inaugural ceremony, I now request our Chief Guest, Honorable Justice K. Khanna sir, Judge, retired, High Court of Punjab and Haryana, to officially inaugurate the NYAYAOLI Club and also release the IEC materials of this project. Thank you, sir. We will be issuing the IEC materials to the students once the program gets over. Now it's the time to hear to our chief guest, Honorable Justice K. Khanna sir, Judge, retired, High Court of Punjab and Haryana. I now request sir to give the special address to the students.
Good morning to all of you. What a lovely reciprocation. Thank you very much. And today, the project director, Mr. Srinivasan, the principal of the Ambedkar Law College, Pondicherry, principal, the revered principal of your school, and there are persons who are joining online from the Ministry of Justice. To those persons who are joining online, to dear students, to all of you, it's my pleasure to be here for inaugurating this literacy club. A literacy club, again on that day, we simply pulled out the 3 documents one after another without letting you know what they were all about. The first one, what was shown, was a pamphlet. It's a pamphlet on NYAYAOLI, the project, what it contains. What are the laws which you are going to be knowing? What are the laws which are going to be introduced to, and what you must know, and even if you are not students of law, even if you do not enter the law college, these are things which are supposed to be knowing. These are attended. That is a pamphlet which is going to be distributed to you over a period The second one is a small task for you. The second one is the Constitution of India, the preamble. If ever you are going to invite me anymore at any other time, I would ask any one of you to recall what the preamble contains, what it is. You will know by heart the next time I come, or persons who do not know will probably know what the preamble contains. So that is an essential feature of a document. In fact, if anyone must ask me, where is the heart of our constitution? Where do you see the pulse of this Constitution of India? You must be able to point out to this document, and that is the preamble. I think you have sufficient distraction now with all pamphlets going all across to you. Maybe it can wait for some time, depending on what has been said. And these pamphlets can be distributed probably by the end instead of doing it now. To those persons who have received, you can keep it by your side or tuck it with you. We'll be able to read it together at some point in time. This pamphlet, or what I said, apart from that, the preamble of the Constitution gives us a sense of a nation's ideals, what it wanted to do, and it has an attacking beginning about how it states. It says, "We, the people of India." This is again what the people of India are sure. How does it happen? Having solemnly resolved to constitute India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic to secure to all its citizens. So here you find that this is a document which we are giving to ourselves. It is not a king delivering something to us. It is the people of India who secure to ourselves a constitution which will pulsate with energy as a sovereign nation. Sovereign is that we are not slave to anyone. We are the kings of ourselves. We are the people who will rule ourselves. And a socialist country which has ideals which will talk about diffusion of wealth, which will talk about a uniform standard of living to people. We all know it does not happen right now. We have the highs and the lows, the rich and the poor. These are not persons who. There are societies where we have a society which is divided in social, economic, political inequalities. So therefore, there is a constitution that provides to us an equality of status, an opportunity to promote amongst all of us. Is an important feature which we are given. A secular country is a country which respects all religions. It's not as if it is becoming irreligious. You come here to the school every day, probably pray before Jesus, pray to God, pray to whatever deity you have in your mind. But that kind of a prayer, or what we invoke, is irrespective of what faith we have in our personal, in our own hearts. We all treat every other religion equally, and that is secularism. Secularism is not merely something which is particular and peculiar to a person, which will retain to himself. That it is the respect that we give to every other religion. This is how we understand secularism. Unless, unlike in the West, where their concern at all times was to keep religion separate from politics, separate from governance. For us in India, it was always at some point of time religiosity which was occupying public spaces. But then it should only be confined to our own faith and belief, and we must respect everyone else and every one other religion, is what our secularism means here. A democracy we understand is that which we give to ourselves by majority. A parliament which is run on a parliamentary democracy, we are talking about a democracy where representatives of people, we govern ourselves through how a majority decide. But then does it mean minority has no space? On the other hand, we have in our constitution special protection for minorities. Why would any protection be given for minorities? The answer is simple and obvious. Like it happens in our family. Who is the person who takes the most kind of protection in our family? The youngest person. because that person requires to be protected more. He does not know, she does not know how to take care of herself or himself. A rude majority, a large section of people merely muscling its way against a minority will be a dangerous thing. Therefore, we have assured in our constitution a right to administer educational institutions for linguistic minorities, for religious minorities, for the minorities of different character. They will have a right to administer institutions of their own, education institutions of their own, such as what we have. So that is assured in our constitution, and this is meant for justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. This is how we fashion our constitution of what we want. Apart from that, is also a booklet which is given, which talks about, it contains various details. What are all the things which have come now recently? There are changes in law which have come about. For a long time, our understanding, many of our understanding of law was through how it was taught to us from the British. Persons who are ruling us, they were the persons who are telling us how we must conduct evidence in court, how we must punish some person for certain classes of offences. Procedure to be done. What is the nature of trial? Gather evidence from various places. This is working through what we called as the Indian Penal Code, the Evidence Act. All these are now being changed now. They've been given Bharatiya names. Probably that is something which in Tamil Nadu probably creates some issues. But then we may understand as BNSS, BNS, BS Act. These are three enactments which contains the details about what are those important changes. So these are something which will come to you over a period of time. Now in our attempt now today, within a short period of what I have, the project director was saying it was important that we recognize that everyone must know law. Why do we know law? Why do we require to know law? Because we all are governed by certain orderly manner of conducting ourselves. Look at how we come into the school. There is a certain order. Look at how we have seated yourselves now. I'm able to see persons seated across in a line. There is an order. How did this order come about? This order came about when your monitor or your teacher or somebody was saying somebody will sit in the first row, then you'll follow that line. We lay down some rules. We lay down some kind of precepts of how everyone must follow. Then we follow some rule, then it becomes an orderly one. This is merely seated in a hall, we require that orderliness, and therefore we require rules. Imagine a larger society where there are scores of people. We have 143 crores of people who are living 1.43 billions. It's not a small number. To conduct them all, to make them realize that they must conform to certain rules. How will it happen? It should be there some body of rules, body of law which is created. That is called a constitution of India. A constitution is a mother of all laws. That it will lay down how is the power divided? Who will govern at the center? Who will govern at the states? What shall be the relationship between the state and the union, the center? How will the people within the state behave? Who will govern them? All these are matters which are set out in a document, which is a power document called as the Constitution of India, which is the mother of all legislation. We have therefore a provision which states under Article 12, laws are, what are all the laws that we say? This is legislated by the Parliament, which is by the Assembly, which is formulated through several rules, regulations. Now, if there is any rule, if there is any regulation which is out of sync, which is against the Constitution, then it is bad. That is what that is a provision it says. It says under Article 13 that anything which is against the Constitution, any law, any rule, any regulation which is against the Constitution, which will be bad, ultra-wise, not valid. This is what it says. It contains certain features which are very, very important, which you'll never remember. Like I said, I'm sure it was not a threat. Some point of time, if I come in future again to a school, I'll ask what are the important features of the Constitution. Important features are contained in Part 3 and Part 4 of the Constitution. What is Part 3? It contains fundamental rights. The fundamental rights of what we have is what is brought out. What are those important fundamental rights in the Constitution? It says, and the most important feature of fundamental right is Article 14, which guarantees equality. Now, when we talk about equality, there is always a concern that there is inequality. We all recognize that. In the house, there is no equality. Father asks you to do something, you have to do that. Mother tells you to do something, you have to do it. Where is the equality? She has more power. Father has more power. Is this not what we recognize? There is required to be some orderliness, there is required to be some manner of conducting ourselves, and therefore certain rules are made even within the family. This equality of what we are talking about is how we must be seen in the society. It's not the inequality. Inequality, if you can see, it can happen in so many ways. My father is taller than I am, my mother is fairer than I am, my brother is shorter than I am. There is inequality that way, but that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about an equality where each one feels fully competent to decide what is possible. Till we are in a position to take all the decisions ourselves. Till such time, when we are minors, the law recognizes that there is a person who can be a guardian for you. Your father is a guardian, your mother is a guardian for a child, and she'll be able to decide for you what you have to do, what is good for you. There is therefore no inequality there. Law recognizes exceptional situations where that equality will have to be suborned. It has to be made subordinate to something else. Now, after that, when we are talking about equality, we see in the society, we have said generally within the house there is an equality. If it is to be obtained, some rules are to be given. The next one, which is important, the most important feature in our Constitution of what we are all going to be concerned about, that comes in Article 15, which says, in order that the equality is reached, there is a provision which says, special provisions may be made for women and children. Now, look at that. The Constitution recognizes that there will be some special provisions. What would be the special provisions? It can provide for horizontal reservation for women, for employment, for education. It can provide for graver offences to be recognized. If somebody behaves in a way in public which is not appropriate, which can bring down the dignity of women, then that can be made as an offence. There is nothing like, no offence like bringing down the dignity of a man, but there is an offence for any act by any person, how high that person is, that act which brings down the dignity of the person, where a woman feels harassed, then there could be a special legislation. This is a new norm which is coming about in the society, where we recognize women are the receptacles. They are the receptacles of honor in the society, and therefore they must be treated with honor. There must be special provision which will empower women in that context, and that will punish any person who tries to bring any dishonor to women. Not merely women, children. Many of you are children here. There are offences spelled out in various enactments. In fact, in this small volume, it does not contain everything. But then there are certain provisions which talks about sexual harassment at workplace. There is some provision which we know what should happen, because we are all going to be soon within in place where you work as you graduate, as you go out to school, you go into college, you work more. What kind of protection do you have? What is seen as harassment? What is appropriate behavior in public place? It is protected through a law which is taking a leaf out of the Constitution in Article 15 and makes special provisions for women. And there are also important enactments like maintenance of welfare for parents and senior citizens. Now, who maintains the parents? Who maintains the senior citizens? what is our obligation to do so? Those are provisions which are contained there. And then we have child protection laws, which are again exceedingly important, where there could be a protected child, children are protected against offences which are committed against them. It could be through a bad touch. We are all probably taught most of you are now adolescents, in the 9th, 10th, 11th. At that level, I'm sure you must have been taught in your classes. What is appropriate touch? What is appropriate behavior? How should a child be treated? All these are important issues, and there are legislation which talks about it. Rights of children, free education has come about. This is another important article. I said 15, Article 15 is 1, 2, 3. You have in the Constitution of India several numbers. There's the same way as you have in your book chapters, 1, 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter. The same way the Constitution contains parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Part 3 is fundamental right. Part 4 is directive principles of state policy. Part 4A is fundamental duties. There are parts like this. Within each part there are sections. Running sections that begin from Article 1 is not called as section, it is called as article. That is the difference between Constitution and other enactments. In Constitution you have all articles from it. In that article, Article 15 I said, contains provisions relating to special provisions for children and women. And then important article, another article which is very important is Article 17. Article 17 prohibits and states that it is an offense to practice untouchability. This is the key provision. If somebody must ask, I told you, where is the heart in the Constitution? Where is the heart amongst laws? I said the Constitution is the heart. If there is anything in the provision relating to the Constitution where Ambedkar said that's where my pulse really throbs, it is Article 17. Article 17 talks about untouchability. We created over a period of time several social practices where certain classes of persons were treated as untouchable. There are still instances in some parts of Tamil Nadu itself where untouchability is a major issue. Recently, I was bringing home, when I was coming from Chennai, I was reading a book which is a report made by Justice Chandru, where the government said to an event which had happened in Nanguderi. Nanguderi, I don't know how many persons would have known or gone there, but Nanguderi is a place near Tirunelveli. I'm sure Tirunelveli is a place all of you would have heard. In that district, there is a place called Nanguderi. Nanguderi is a school where there is a school. Some two boys visited violence on another boy in the class. And that sister of that boy was trying to protect his brother from getting beaten. She was also cut with a knife. Both this boy and the sister girl were seriously injured and they were taken to the hospital. Treatment was given. They were taken out of the school, provided shelter in some place in Tirunelveli. They educated. The boy has done well, secured very high marks and taken an award. But then the government thought there is something very seriously wrong about the way we are running our schools. The way untouchability is practiced, the caste differences are known. That's a dangerous thing. I was before coming here, I was speaking to your principal for a few seconds, and I was telling her about the deep concern that I have. The book that I was reading while I was traveling, and she was saying to my heart content. She said, "There is no such issue here in our school, sir. There is no untouchability." So, what should we? I'm so thrilled and excited for you that you're all growing in an environment where each one of you sees the other as your own sister. That there is no one untouchable amongst us. There is a person only to embrace the other. There is no one untouchable. The most evidently touchable people are the persons who are around you. So, kudos to all of you to behave the way you have done. And this was, however, a major concern. If there is one article in the whole of the Constitution, sometime later in a quiz or something where I'm sure the project director will think of organizing, quiz competitions among school students to know how much of constitution we have known important features. I'm sure the question will be, where is the one article where there is an offense created and a punishment to be provided? There is only one penal provision in the whole of the constitution, that is Article 17. That is what really concerned a lot of people who are right-thinking people, who found if there was one festering problem which was inhibiting India from progressing, if it was showing India in a bad light to a world of citizens and other countries, it is this practice of untouchability which is the most shameful, resentful practice which exists in society. So, therefore, in what Justice Chandru had stated, several of suggestions which he had made, I just thought we should at least hear what it is. It may not be necessary in a school which does not practice any form of untouchability, but then it is important for us to know that there are very serious things which are happening around us. You will soon be out in a college. You will be soon out in a place for employment. In that place, if there is going to be any untouchability practice anywhere, or somebody asking for the name of the caste, which caste you are, that there is a famous poet in Tamil literature, Kannadas. Many of you probably you are the generation born after 2000, therefore you would have known Kannadas except through the flute songs of what you have heard. He had his own fancy. He thought, how do we talk about caste at all times? Why do we always associate names with caste? Iyer, Iyengar, Mudaliar, Naidu, Hadayachi. How do we go on like this? How is it correct? Therefore, he said, all people in India must have one caste, which is Bharat as a caste. So everyone will have a surname, Bharat. Didn't work, we still have a legal surname. This is what he said. We still have our suffixes. Now, thankfully, in Tamil Nadu, the practice has been dropped. We don't see Iyers and Iyengar's name being added, or Mudaliars and Naidus. Good for us. But then across North India, I have worked in North India for a long period. There are known the Mithans, the Gal, the Guptas, the way the name comes from a suffix immediately will show which caste that person is. And that is how in society you fix a person's hierarchy, where you put the status of the person. That is how it gets to be organized. So serious an issue of what is truly a challenge. Therefore, you see matrimonial products. I'm sure some of you must have seen, if it is in a newspaper, Manamagal Deve. You will find Manamagal Deve, Nada Pendant, Nada Marumagal. Why would it be a Nada to a Nada? Why would it again be to Iyer to a Iyer? Why do we look to, in times of marriage, look to caste as an essential feature that they must combine? If a bondage of persons could happen, transcending these artificially created barriers of what we've created amongst ourselves, that would be the greatest occasion for our development, which will happen, and that could happen only through the attitudes which you have. I'm now an old man. And now it's time to pass on the baton to the next generation of people who carry the world. But then you are all the persons who are going to dream and make this India, and that dream can happen, and we can bring about a casteless society where Ambedkar in his book called as Annihilation of Caste, a small booklet which runs to about 36 pages only, or probably in a larger print about 100 pages. He wrote, if only there are inter-caste marriages, this caste will be annihilated completely. I'm sure you will be at some point of time proponents of such a progressive culture where you won't worry yourself about the caste to which you belong, and you still take and embrace every other person. Every person, the whole world is yours. The whole world is ours to embrace, and that is what I think is the constitutional goal when we are talking about equality. The social equality of what can come can happen only if we shed our caste prejudices. We have therefore in this constitution itself, when we are making so special provisions in the Article 15, there is a provision called as Article 16 which talks about employment where reservation can be given. There is appropriate in all our school children to understand what is this reservation about. Why do we have reservation? Is it bad? Is it anti-merit? No. You must recognize this reservation is an important constitutional feature. If you are going to be saying reservation is all bad, some person who does not get marks get admitted, I set out the same marks, I don't get admitted. You must recognize this reservation is a constitutional feature where we found over a period of several centuries, we have disempowered some people. We have kept some people out of education. We have kept some people out of certain classes of employment. If they should come to the forefront, if they must also see prosperity in its full bloom, it is essential that we need to carry out some special status for drafting them in education institutions. After all, a person who obtains reservation benefit and then secures an admission into a class does not get to be rewarded with higher marks. Anyway, he has to pass the same examination as everyone else. So therefore, it is only at the stage of providing admission into an institution, a reservation is given. So it ought not to be a creation of any kind of unpleasantness for students. Same way, in the matters of employment also, for a long period, all menial and lower menial jobs, such as the scavenging work, such as road cleaning work, such as sewerage work, all were consigned to people of certain classes of persons who in the society were seen to be the so-called untouchables. In a casteless society of what we are trying to bring, and in the dignity of labor of what we are going to be recognizing through various laws, we ensure that everyone gets an opportunity to go to the highest post. Do we not know now how so many persons from the year 1950 when we provided for certain reservations, we have several classes of persons, several persons who wouldn't have dreamt of becoming big-time persons. They are now occupying big positions. I go to Bhopal now and then to the Judicial Academy to teach judges. Judges also require to be taught. One of the persons like me, old judges, we go for teaching the fellow judges. There was a person who came. His name was William Beswada. He is a person from Kolar. He was narrating incident about how he had never known till he came to class 10 that his father and mother were scavengers in the railways department. Their work was to go to the railway stations where there will be feces there in the tracks which they clean and put them aside. The parents wanted to ensure that the son did not do what they were doing, that the son occupied position of strength. Beswada, however, said, now if this is the life which my parents had been going through, and they were keeping it away from my knowledge for this long, it is the indignity of living which they suffered. They wanted me to obtain learning and move on. What he decided therefore was, I will take up the manual scavenging work of what is happening and what is prevalent. It is completely taken away, practice is completely abjured, and every place you require even meaningful, hygienic manner disposal of human waste. So it so happened that manual scavenging, when he took the case to Supreme Court and said now manual scavenging is still prevalent in many states in India, and the government of India through the chief secretaries of various states, several of them said there is no open latrine in our place. There is no latrine where the feces is there. It's all washed. That's how we have it. Then that was completely a lie, where several places there were open defecation was still happening. People were manually scavenging. Scavengers were there in villages. They were taking away human shit and then removing it. And he went with a team of persons and then with crowbars and then started demolishing constructions. Suddenly the police were suddenly surprised. How come people are there arriving in various places with crowbars? And he said, you have stated in the Supreme Court that there are no manual latrines, there are no open latrines. We are now demolishing them where they existed. It is a big fight. So it's not very everything what social transformation what we are trying to bring about will not happen unless big time decisions are taken. And those decisions are beating people head on where they are resisting changes. So it is all in the context of Article 17 where I said Ambedkar thought that is where our heart pulsates, where our heart must really bring about some major changes. There is one more article which is now a recent provision, Article 21A. This is something of what you learn yourself. The free education now at the primary school level is now a fundamental right. No child in India can ever be turned out of the school by saying that he does not fit in with our norms and therefore he can't get admission. Every school has to provide a neighborhood schools. They are all called, even Cluny probably has a policy where they have to admit 25% of children from amongst the locality of poorest sections of people must also get admitted. So, but it is possible some schools are exempted when the state may not be able to fund the school for additional expense. But there is no one anywhere in any locality that there may be a child who is unable to go to school because he does not have the resources. The children have to be treated to admission everywhere. This Chandra committee, which has gone into it, has also stated that the caste things will go out of school. No school will hereafter be called with any caste suffixes anywhere. He said again, there are some schools where people wear colored bands in their hands to denote the caste that they have. They wear certain types of head masks to denote the caste of that person. All that should be taken away, is what he had said. He said, many of the children from the lower strata of society, they are not given admission to science stream because the teachers or somebody says, now you won't be able to understand, math is very difficult for you, science is difficult, you take arts. These are persons who are unable to compete in medicine and engineering. Therefore, there must be reservation also in admission to science classes for persons who are economically and socially backward, is what the recommendation is. Many of these recommendations may not have relevance to you, but it is relevant at least for you to know that these kind of inequities exist, and if there are reservations made elsewhere, then ought not to be a scope for resentment at your turn. On the other hand, you should welcome them as important tools of social empowerment. I thought I must tell you three things for three different reasons. One is about some important changes in law which have come through apart from the Constitution. I have already told you about some important legislation. More than three legislation I have referred to. Protection of women against domestic violence is one side. Sexual harassment, prevention of sexual harassment is another. And then POXO offenses where children, if they are treated in any way which is not appropriate, there will be a graver offense where special provisions are there. Spoke in the context of Article 15, special provisions which the government will make. Special laws, some of the laws are what? Three laws I will give to you. One is on a matter of succession. For a long period in India, women were discriminated from even inheriting property. Inheritance is that which somebody takes after a father or a mother dies. Mother dies leaving the property, father dies leaving the property. A daughter could not inherit as a full owner. Only a male, a son could do that. For the first time, through a Hindu code which Ambedkar drafted, and in the year 1949, there was a big resistance before the Indian, before it became a parliamentary democracy. We obtained the freedom in 1947. But 49, Ambedkar drew up a Hindu code which will empower in several areas the position of women. And in that he said, in the Hindu Succession Act, any property which is held by a woman shall be as a full owner. This was brought through the Hindu Succession Act. Why is it only Hindu Succession Act? Christians were governed by the Indian Succession Act of 1925, which granted them full ownership. There was no problem there. In Islam, before any other country did, even in the 7th century, the 8th century, from the day of the Muhammad, women had full power in the property. Though the share of entitlement was lesser than the males, they had full ownership. This was brought through Section 14 in the Hindu Succession Act, and in Tulsama, which was an important judgment, sometime in the year 1976, the Supreme Court made a pronouncement that even if a property is given to a woman in recognition of her right to maintenance is that when Jivanams, I'm sure you must have heard that expression, that which somebody requires to sustain oneself in a matrimonial bond where the husband is not properly maintaining, where the person who is a breadwinner is not giving the resources to the family, then the family is entitled to maintenance. That maintenance of what should come, if that any property is given to her for her maintenance, it will be treated as a full owner. Tulsama is one important judgment which has come. I thought I would give you three important decisions of what the Supreme Court did, and that is one important judgment. Another is Very Roy. Very Roy's case was a case where she was governed by Travancore Christians Succession Act, and it provided that the woman would take a right which was lesser than the male in the family. There is already an Indian Succession Act which provided an equal right with the son. But then there were exceptions where there are special legislation existing in any place in that domain. That was the point which was taken to the Supreme Court, and where the Supreme Court said, if there are any legislation which exists which is out of sync with the Indian Succession Act, that will not be valid. And therefore, Travancore Christian Act, they said, will not be valid, then the Indian Christian Act, which is meant for Christians, provide for equal right, and that should be provided. That is another case. Another case was Shaira Banu. Shaira Banu was a case where a triple talaq, whether a man can divorce his wife by pronouncement as talaq, talaq, talaq. If this is done by a male to a woman who is married to under the Islam, it was possible for him to dissolve the marriage by a pronouncement. This was stated to be a wrong practice. It was brought out through a law. The question whether there can be a law which goes against the customs of Islam was the point in question. The Supreme Court examined and said, Quran does not permit this triple talaq. It was some bad practice which has come about over a period of time. There are several of the Islamic countries immediately surrounding India, including Bangladesh and Pakistan, does not recognize triple talaq. Therefore, this is not an essential feature of religion, and therefore, a secular legislation could be brought to outlaw the triple talaq. These are three judgments which have come post-independence in the work of the Supreme Court, of which I thought you must all know, and that is, with that, I will only put out three traits which I want you to follow in your life. One is, most important thing is the constitutional provisions of what you need to learn. What will you do? I would suggest to you something. Every day, is there something which I will learn new? This will be a matter of challenge which you will set to yourself. Every day I am going to learn something about Constitution. My own personal interest will be that I try to know something new. What will be the something new? I will try to know what is the preamble of the Constitution. I will try to memorize it from reading every morning. Or I will say to myself, what are the fundamental rights? I will know at least one fundamental right today. Same way, as important as knowing the fundamental right will also be knowing what is the fundamental duty. Having a scientific temper is a fundamental duty. It brings enormous sense in a context of how several of beliefs which are useless beliefs. Things will not happen. It's bad. So we associate several things as bad by some beliefs which have no meaning at all. They are unscientific. To have a scientific temper now is a fundamental duty. To respect your nation is a fundamental duty. So what is the fundamental duty? The next time when I come, I'm sure I'll ask you, what are the fundamental duties? Name at least 4 of them. How many are you able to follow and imbibe it within yourself? That is one trait which I would want. The second trait will be how you will connect to society in some way. We are great examples. the great examples of what in a school like this, of what we must have all known. Mother Teresa lived a life of compassion. Then she had a call when she was just 12 years of age, born in Abyssinia, where now in the Mesopotamia, western place. She came to India in 1929, far before even your parents had been born. And she dedicated herself. And she said, now, to do big things is difficult. Doing big things in my life is not what I keep as my ideal. To do small things with passion and love is what I do. All of you will therefore identify some small thing which you will do in society where you treat with compassion persons. Make yourself a happy donor of something. You can do anything. You can probably drop a 50 paisa or 1 rupee coin which is there, drop it down and then go. If there is some person, you need not be poor. If he sees it, he'll bring back and then put it in the pocket. Very happy. You find it exceedingly happy even when you're walking on the road when you find something and then you're in a position to take it. These are all small acts of kindness. Do something. It need not necessarily be in terms of money. It can be anything. Going in a car, I had a funny experience some time back. Going in a car when I was coming to the toll, when I was trying to make the payment, he said, "Sir, the person going ahead of you, he has paid for you also." I couldn't believe. Can somebody do something like this? Suddenly, an act of charity, I felt it was merely probably some 40 rupees. That 40 rupees, I am not going to build a castle. But then at that minute, I thought that man's kindness of who he extended, without knowing me, without knowing who that next person is, he just made it possible for me to enjoy that moment. So do some acts of kindness, do some act with compassion, and recognize that there is someone who deserves that. That is important. The third thing is something which probably your principal will not like me saying that, but I'll say, don't look for impossible standards of perfection in your life. Imperfection is okay. That's not surely what your principal will ask you to follow. But I'll tell you this because I'm an old man, older than your principal. Therefore, I've seen life is better and worth it. If you allow some imperfections to stay around, that's fine. I get up in the morning, the bed is all disheveled. I go away immediately, brush my teeth, and run out. Mother calls you and says, "Now, what have you done? You have not folded your clothes." Don't scowl at her. Yeah, you know that it didn't happen. Yes, I will do it. Then go there and do it. You don't need to do it all very good, fast and things. That there is a way to chill. Chilling is fine. The chillness of what you adopt in your life must be in some way spaced out. Everyone who is at all times hurried, carrying a poke in his face. No, that's not what is going to give you happiness. Be in a position to smile. Be in a position to take your walk slowly. Take a stride which is happy even walking. All that is fine in your life. Now, the imperfection of what I am saying is that which is imperfect ought not be a matter of concern at all times. There are always some households where I have known, why have you not done this? Why is it not there? Why have you not put it there? Why are the children's outside? There will be umpteen things which somebody will say. You will receive it, don't scowl. Then take it in your stride. Oh, did I forget to keep it there? Forget to bring it in? I put it inside. Now, some mom is saying, "Now you have not washed your clothes. What have you done?" Oh, now somewhere I was doing something else. It was going out of mind. I do it. So you accept what we learn in the field of conflict, or what I am trained to do, is never say no at the first place. Bring a no somewhere in between two yes. Yes, I understand what you're saying. No, it is not possible for me to do it immediately. Yes, I do immediately afterwards. So bring two yeses and then a no somewhere in between. Don't go with the no first. That imperfection to that extent is fine. So as I began, I asked the principal how much time they had. She said around 12:15 we can close. So therefore, I'm closing 5 minutes in place again for you to conclude with the rest of things. So to go back to where we start summer, we will know that Constitution is an important document for which I will try to know some provision. Ignorance of law is no excuse. Therefore, I will try to empower myself through knowledge and power. Law recognizes certain important provisions for women and children. It is important important that provisions are there in order to bring about equality. Therefore, I will accept in my scheme of things any reservation which is made for protecting those women and children, or special provisions which empower women and children. Untouchability is some practice which I abhor. I will not allow this to fester my personal life. I will not allow caste suffixes to attach itself to me. I will not have any bias against any caste. Everyone is equal, is what I live by. Right to education, what we obtain is that we cherish, therefore we have all types of people coming to us. And code and approaches have been over a period of time to bring about equality, and there are empowering decisions coming through across the religious divide in each one of them. I gave an example from each one of the societies, religious groups which were affected by judgments, where the court's concern has been to secure equality. And it talked about the three traits of what we have, what we must cultivate. The cultivation of learning to abide by law, fashion our life to abide by law. Connect to society in some way by your compassion, all that is relevant. So there will be surely some time in future where we'll deepen our relationship, we'll deepen our connections. I'll be coming back to school at some time in future. I'm sure by the time I come back again, you will be a much more empowered person.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us on the importance of law, especially on Constitution and its provisions, which is the supreme law of land. And it is an honor and privilege to have you here, sir. Thank you very much. I now invite any two volunteers from the students to give you valuable feedback. Okay, before we move on to the feedback session, is there any doubts or questions you would like to ask Honorable Justice? You can.
I'll send you a message if there is any question.
Justice Chandru promoted a habit in his school when he was present. Initially, questions were very difficult to be elicited from students. Then he said, anyone who is asking the question will be rewarded. I'll assure you of a reward through your principal as I go out. If there is any question from any one of you, right, go with it. You get a reward. Please give your name and then later I will yes. Somebody is giving a mic for you. Give your name, your class, and then ask the question. It should be a question, it should not be a lecture. Yes. Ask.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself Santosh Meena of Standard 12th. So I'm not sure if the question is actually right, but it's still a question among all of us over here. So you told that the reservation is right because for many years some category of people were not privileged enough. But why should it not be based on annual income of each family to provide reservations in college? Because there are certain...
The question is understood. Your name is Santoshi.
Santoshi Meena.
Okay, for the very question, please give her a big hand. Yes, this is a very valid question, Santoshi. Now, economic reservation, on economic reservation on the ground of economic reasons, 10% is provided. And there is a constitutional amendment which has been made. And therefore, the correctness of this provision was brought in challenge. And the Supreme Court has upheld this reservation and said reservation on the ground of economic consideration is valid. So therefore, reservation on economic consideration is right now recognized under the Constitution through an express provision. Now, not all, because reservation of what is provided depends on each state makes its own law and does it. We are talking about reservation in two contexts. One is the field of education to get admission into schools and colleges. Two, reservation in public employments. These are the only two areas where reservation has a meaning. In the matter of economic consideration, if you keep an income, right now there is an income at 3 lakhs rupees is kept as the threshold value in Maharashtra, let us say like that. What can happen is, your poverty is not a permanent status. Your caste is a permanent status. Your caste disempowerment is a permanent status. A disempowerment felt by a person through where he belonged, which family he was born is a permanent status. But within the same generation, 3-4 years later, the same house which had obtained for the first son a reservation on the ground of economic consideration where the father's income was 3 lakhs, it is likely the next year he has come by a better employer. He has made a better profit in the business. His earning has become 4 lakhs. What would happen is the first son would have gained the reservation through the reservation on economic consideration. The second child may not get because by that time economic disempowerment would have become a slightly improved state. Economic status is never permanent. It keeps changing. Ever so many rich people there are what you know. There were yesterday poor persons who have made big time changes. When we are talking about reservation, we want a certain solidity. We want a certain certainty to where we assign the reservation and then go forward. If you are taking economic consideration, though it is now recognized by law, not all states are very happy. Tamil Nadu, for instance, is not very happy about this because they think the reservation must start with the caste disempowerment. The social justice of what we will cry for is there are so many backward classes. There are most backward classes. There are scheduled castes and scheduled tribes which are socially disempowered. I've known, that is why I wanted to see the matrimonial ads. You're still not of age to see the matrimonial ads probably. If you are only looking at it, your father or mother will be concerned. What are you now looking at? So, but then know that where you find a Mudaliyar will seek for a Mudaliyar bride. The Iyer will seek for a Iyer bride. You will not find a Dalit seeking for a Dalit. Have you ever seen an advertisement like that? Because the very fact that he is a Dalit is important. So that is a problem. However, I know that some of my own colleagues, one of them was coming to this. I'm telling you as I will treat you as adults when I'm telling you this particular response. One of our brother journalists who was a Dalit. To him, who had a daughter, somebody else is saying, brother, I don't care for caste or things. I simply am fine. And if you tell me, if you know somebody, you tell me, any caste is okay, brother. Only that person shall not be died. This, when my brother dad was telling, I was later telling you how things are happening. My social status of where I've come to is not of any consequence to the person. Where I belong is an issue. Should it be like this? This is what he was asking. So, our reservation on the ground of economic consideration is because economic status is a transient status. It is a status which can change over a period of time. And we are talking about reservation where there is a stagnation to certain classes of people, and therefore it changes. So, Santoshini, I assured you of some gift, and it will come through your principal or whatever she is going to think of as a gift which is worth it for this, and I provide to her or what the school will provide to Santoshini and her friends. 500 rupees.
So the question was not for gifts, actually.
No, that's different. This is from me, from school. That's it.
Thank you so much, sir. Any other questions?
Raise your hand.
Kindly raise up your hands. Any more questions? Thank you, sir. Once again, it's an honor and privilege to have you here, sir. You have been very polite to the students and you have answered them and also given them the main virtues of your life, that be kind and also be kind to the public as well. I now request two volunteers present here to give their valuable feedback.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, D. Vivedashni of Standard 11, take immense pleasure in delivering a feedback on the legal awareness session conducted by the NYAYAOLI team. I also extend my heartfelt greetings to the guest and speaker, Honorable K. Kannan. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking an initiative to spread some basic knowledge on law among the students' community. Firstly, the way you explained the project, NYAYAOLI, which is a great project to reach out to the students, was really impressive. The way you encouraged us to have some basic knowledge on law in order to increase the legal literacy of people in Puducherry has brought an awareness among us to know the fundamentals of law. I also thank you for inaugurating the NYAYAOLI Club in our school, which allows us to take part in various events related to law. The session has really enlightened our minds to know more about the fundamentals of law. Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Kalpika of Standard 12A, standing here before you to deliver the feedback. I feel really privileged and honored to deliver the feedback on behalf of everyone present here. I thank the Honorable Justice Kannan sir for gracing the occasion and providing us knowledge on various provisions related to women and children, equality, and about employment and reservation, about untouchability, about the preamble and free education for children. We are getting a lot of knowledge today, and I hope that everyone has something valuable to take back home from this session. And then thank you, sir, for providing us with those 3 traits. And we assure you that we'll take it as a challenge to follow it in our daily life and imbibe it, sir. Then the next time when you visit our school, I hope that I assure you that everyone will be ready with to answer your questions, sir. We all will learn the constitutional provisions and answer your questions clearly, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dear students, for your valuable feedback. And we feel very happy that the objective of our program through Honorable Justice Sir has reached you. And as she mentioned, you people will come to know more about law in our upcoming programs as well. I now request Ms. Sandhya of 12th Standard to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First, I would like to thank the Almighty for blessing us with such a wonderful opportunity. I would like to express my gratitude to our chief guest, Honorable Justice Kannan, a former justice of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, who, despite his busy schedule, found time to grace us with his thought-provoking address. Thank you, sir. It is a great privilege to have you here with us. Your talk on the basics of our Constitution encourages us to increase our knowledge on the various laws of our Constitution. Your talk on the significance on the different of our Constitution enlightens us on the different articles present in it. We assure you that we will try our best to learn the preamble of our Constitution. I would also like to thank Mr. Srinivasan, Principal, Dr. Ambedkar, Government Law College, Puducherry, for providing us on the insight on NYAYAOLI project. I would like to express my gratitude to all the guests for their esteemed presence. I request our principal to honor and thank Mrs. Rajasatya, Assistant Professor in Law, Member, Project Management Team. And Mr. Saurabh Dey, Assistant Professor in Law, Member, Project Management Team. I would like to thank our principal, the Reverend Sister Rosalie, for providing us with such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, sister. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you all for making this program a grand success. I, on behalf of Dr. Ambedkar Government Law College, Puducherry, would like to thank the school management and also our Chief Guest, Honorable Justice Kannan sir. Thank you all.
नमस्ते सर. Just now खत्म हुआ प्रोग्राम. हेलो सर. राजेश सर. हेलो सर. सर राजेश सर. हेलो. हेलो राजेश सर. राजेश सर. राजेश सर. राजेश सर. हेलो सर. सर.
11A, move to all the entrance.
हेलो सर.
All the doors open. Others
सर
please don't get
प्रोग्राम खत्म हो गया सर. हाँ ले लिया गया है.
I asked only
अच्छा.
11A.
Students. Wait.
Please be seated. Please be seated. Sit down.
सर मैं करता हूँ.
Those who are at the back, please be seated. Sit down, children.
सर ये ठीक है. पोजीशन ठीक है. थैंक यू शिखा मैम. थैंक यू राजेश सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. थैंक यू. मैं बंद कर रहा हूँ कनेक्शन. हाँ बंद कर रहा हूँ. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर फॉर ज्वाइनिंग. थैंक यू सर. एंड थैंक यू मैम ऑल्सो. थैंक यू मैम. थैंक यू मैम.